It's still only WNBA preseason, and there are far too many players going down with injury. So what does this mean for the league, and does the WNBA have a physicality problem? What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel DeMita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. Unfortunately, it seems like I'm seeing a new injury report every single day of a player going down with injury during this preseason, and this is not great news for the WNBA. It has me thinking, what the heck is going on? How come these players cannot stay healthy even in the beginning of the season when they should be the healthiest? What's going on within the WNBA? There are so many new reports coming out. It sucks for the league, it sucks for these individual players. And even just yesterday, Fever fans were holding their breath when they heard the news that Kelsey Mitchell injured her finger. Now, she didn't actually injure her finger with the Indiana Fever. She injured it over the off season in China. But I want to share with you guys this interview where she explains what happened and what's going on now.
In broadcast, you dislocated your middle finger knuckle.
Yeah.
When did you do that?
China. Yeah.
What was that experience like, just coming back from that and doing that rehab?
I didn't do rehab. No one fixed it. No one helped me. I don't know what you want me to do, but I don't have any rehab for it. No one helped me out in China, so I just here.
So is it still dislocated?
Probably healing on its own now. It's just nothing I can really do about it. But, yeah.
Have you been told, like, maybe in the off season you want to address that?
I mean, obviously the trainers here have taken care of me to get done what I need to get done, but it's only so much you could do with a, fractured fingers. Part of life, part of basketball at that point. So, normal stuff athletes go through.
It made me so sad listening to this interview because, like she said here, no one helped her in China. The training staff did not do what they needed to do to help her finger to heal properly, and that's probably the reason that it's kind of stuck like this, like it is now. And it also made me think of the bigger discussion about these WNBA players playing overseas or playing in off-season leagues during their off-season when they should be able to be using that time to take care of their body, train, do pickup games and whatnot, but not have to go to another country like Kelsey did, go to China and play there because you're not making wages that are sustainable enough in the WNBA. And Kelsey Mitchell is a veteran in the WNBA, and so she has been doing this for pretty much her entire career. And hopefully with the new CBA, a lot of these players who are playing in off-season leagues won't have to do that, and they can really focus on just taking care of themselves, getting rest, training, lifting, doing all of those little things, and getting ready for the WNBA season. Something I also thought was really funny was during the Iowa game, Holly Rowe actually interviewed Caitlyn Clark's dad. She asked him a bunch of questions about the league, about Caitlyn, but one that stood out to me, she asked about what they learned from Caitlyn's first season in the WNBA, and this is what her dad had to say.
What did you learn in her rookie season that you can help support her and be there for her in this coming season?
Well, I think, there's a lot of room for improvement there. I think particularly in the officiating. I've kind of noticed a little bit of a difference. It looks like they're really officiating the game like it should be officiated. Because I think if you make the game more fluid, people are going to like the product even more than it is right now.
A lot of people were going wild online hearing him call out the officiating and call out the WNBA referees because a lot of us have been doing that for the past 2 seasons. Even if you guys watch my recap of the Indiana Fever versus the Washington Mystics game where I was there in person, I talked to you guys about the physicality of the game and how the refs were missing a lot of calls. In my personal opinion, they let the game get a bit too physical, and there are some fouls that you have to be so strict on, and you have to set the precedence moving forward. With the women's game, they don't play above the rim. There's really only like one level that they are playing at, so there will be more plays where players are on the floor than in the men's game. But at the same time, you have to protect your players, especially with the WNBA growing as fast as it is. You have to protect your players. That should be priority number 1, and priority number 2 should be the entertainment value of the game. The physicality of the game is not a selling point in the WNBA, and I know a lot of veteran players have talked about this. It's such a physical league, but I don't think that adds to the value of the product at all. I truly don't. I think the fast-paced game, making sure that these offenses are able to flow, be strict on some of the defensive rules like they did in the NBA, it actually creates a better product, a better experience for fans. Fans want to see the three-pointers. Fans don't want to see every time down the court there are 4 players on the ground because of some extra physical play that is happening. And so I think the WNBA as a whole needs to tighten up there. They truly do. And I think they will if they take any sort of notes from Adam Silver and what the NBA did to protect their players and add to the entertainment value of the product on the court. But they need to tighten that up very, very quickly. So let's talk about Sonia Citron's welcome to the WNBA moment. Now, this was actually a moment that I didn't think that this was overtly physical. This was her teammate not speaking to her. So if you watch here, Sony's playing defense and Brittany Griner sets a screen and just flattens her. She's going full speed. She doesn't see the screen coming. I don't think this was malicious in any way on Brittany Griner's part. She even turned around and tried to help her off the floor. She's just such a bigger person than Sonia Citron. And honestly, I would blame her teammate for not calling out the screen. Like, you have to talk in that situation. Like, that was her teammate's fault that she got flattened. She was on the ground for a little while. She was kind of breathing heavily. Luckily, she didn't get hurt in this situation. And this also reminded me last year when Caitlyn Clark got hit really hard by a screen and she ruptured her eardrum. She actually was injured by that screen, but it seemed like Sonia just got the wind knocked out of her. But this was definitely a welcome to the WNBA moment. This is not the physicality that I'm talking about that needs to be cracked down upon. There are other things that I think need to be done. Now, unfortunately, there was an injury during this same game with the Washington Mystics versus the Atlanta Dream, and that is Jordan Canada. And Jordan Canada is a star in the WNBA. She was playing defense. It seemed like she came down funny on her knee. It did not look good. She was having a hard time even putting any sort of pressure on her knee. She was escorted to the locker room after the defensive possession. She had a towel over her head. It did not look good. We don't have an update just yet, but I hope that she has the speediest of recoveries. And again, this is just another star player that unfortunately has gone down with injury. And that brings me to just today. I saw the Connecticut Sun gave their status report for tomorrow's game versus the New York Liberty. Diamond DeShields out with a right ankle injury, Anissa Morrow out with a right knee injury, and Amy Okongwu questionable with a left hip injury. We already heard that the Aces had a huge blow with Meg Gustafson going down with injury. Also, Georgia Amore was hurt before the preseason even started. She will be out for the season. There are just too many of these injuries, and I feel like there's a new report every single day. Now, along the lines of injury, I also wanted to talk about this article that went out a couple days ago that I thought was so interesting, and it talked about Unrivaled, and WNBA GMs came out and talked about their concerns with Unrivaled. So the article was written by Kendra Andrews at ESPN, and it says, Year 2 Unrivaled questions, WNBA support, expansion, and rules. This is a long article. If you guys are interested, I would definitely say to check out the entire thing. But Van Shea on Twitter, shout out to him, he did a great job of summarizing some of the biggest points in this article. It says, one WNBA general manager told ESPN there is concern about the wear and tear on players, perhaps even more than if they played overseas. They were surprised by the intensity, duration, and amount of practices, the GM said of Unrivaled. Multiple GMs told ESPN there was also a concern about player injuries in Unrivaled, saying it could hurt our league if star players were hurt. WNBA GMs also wondered if Unrivaled can continue to guarantee covering injured players' WNBA salaries if they miss the WNBA season, particularly if salaries increase substantially with the new CBA. And that's something that we briefly talked about when we did cover Unrivaled. The league is very fast-paced. There's a lot of games. It was physical, and there were quite a few injuries in Unrivaled, and that wasn't a good look for the league. Now, again, shout out to Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart for pulling this off, for putting together a league, and their intentions are so pure. Like we talked about in the beginning of the video, keeping players from having to go overseas and play just to make a living, they created a league in the States, in one city, where players are able to train and play and make a good living. Now, with that, there were some drawbacks, and that is something you have to think about. The players like Asia Wilson and like Caitlyn Clark, and that was another thing that they noted in the article, is that they are still working on trying to get Asia and Caitlyn to play in Unrivaled for this upcoming season. I don't think either of them will, if I'm just being totally honest. But if you think about players like Asia and like Caitlyn who took the entire season off, firstly because they were able to do so, they don't need any extra money, any extra cash. They took the entire offseason off to work on their individual games, to train. We saw what Caitlin Clark looks like now, the difference of her body from year 1 to year 2, how much stronger she has gotten, how much more muscle she has put on. Those two players being able to take the entire offseason to work on themselves and not risk their bodies playing in an overseas league or even playing in Unrivaled. And you just wonder if they are better prepared going into this season than players who did play overseas or who did played in Unrivaled. And I think it is something, if the WNBA's new CBA gets to the point where these players are making significant salaries during the WNBA season, these WNBA GMs, coaches are going to start writing some of these off-season leagues out of their contracts because they cannot risk their players risking their bodies during the off-season and not being prepared for the WNBA. I feel like it's going to be much more serious. And I actually see Unrivaled turning into something, I would actually love to see Unrivaled turn into something like a G League for the WNBA, where it helps to develop players. And it's not necessarily something where these star players are playing in the off season. I would love to see Unrivaled continue in some capacity, but maybe it's a whole reworking of the league to where it fits in. Maybe they partner with the WNBA and figure something out, because I do want to see Nafisa and Brianna succeed in their business venture. I just think, like these GMs confirmed to us, I have the same concerns that they do about the wear and tear and about the injury, and it also not being that far from the beginning of the season. But with that, you guys, I feel like I've rambled long enough, so let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it, and click that little subscribe button because we upload new videos every single week. And with that, you guys, I'll see you next time. Ooh,